Act 3. The Making of Monsters. Our protagonist enters the town of Kedbardu in search of the Haradrim Lorath. When the two reunite, she is disappointed to find out that he is not being so diligent in his search. The townspeople tell stories of Lorath's drunken stupors and the madness he seems to hold in his quest for information on someone he only refers to as the Pale Man. As mysterious as ever, Lorath is not quickly forthcoming with information. But eventually, he reveals to our protagonist that the Pale Man from her visions goes by the name of Elias. He used to be Haradrim apprentice of Lorath, and is now clearly on the opposing side, seeing as how he has brought Lilith back to life. Elias is a talented mage whose knowledge of hell's evils runs deep. He will not be so easily dispatched, but Lorath ensures that is exactly what we must do. Wasting no time, the two travel to Abiru Canyon, where Elias was last seen. There, they are met with demons, clearly summoned forth by a novice. Lorath has no trouble closing the portals, and is inquisitive as to the reason. Summoning is a rare skill after all, but this doesn't meet the expected level of a mage as renowned as Elias. Lorath and our wanderer follow evidence of the summoning to a man who calls himself Genbar. Genbar admits to the summoning of these beasts before turning into a demon and attacking them. Once again, he shows himself to be a novice and is quickly defeated. As Lorath begins examination on the body, he sends the protagonists to visit the nearby Orbai Monastery. The Orbai are a group of monks who dedicated themselves to dark knowledge. They believe that in order to properly serve the light, we must understand the darkness. Clearly, this is a location that would interest Elias very much in his constant search for forbidden knowledge. At the Orbai Monastery, our protagonist discovers a horrific sight. Monks lay dead across the monastery, and only what appears to be a raving lunatic remains. He introduces himself as abbot and explains that Elias came to the monastery and deceived everyone. He now has the forbidden knowledge to summon lesser evils. This is a frightening thought. Despite their names, lesser evils are powerful beings, second only to the prime evils Mephisto, Diablo, and Baal. Our protagonist rushes back to explain the terrible news to Lorath. It all makes sense now. Lilith sent Elias to the Dry Steppes in order to gain the forbidden knowledge that would bolster her forces. There's no cathedral in these lands to protect them, and with the capital sacked, the people can be easily converted to her cause. Lorath takes in this news and shares what he has heard so far. He found a medallion in the demon's stomach. It's a medallion of Gular, indicating that this demon has not only been there, but eaten a citizen of that city. The two connect the dots. Elias is the only one in these parts that has been turning people into demons. If our demon is from Gular, then it follows that Elias may be as well. The two travel to Gular and learn that entering will not be a simple task. Travelers from the city state that current ruler of the city, Roll, is overtaken by a demon and devours his own people. This is clearly the work of Elias, and they cannot make themselves known to him. Resourceful as ever, Lorath calls upon an old friend to gain intel of a secret passage into the city. Armed with this new knowledge, he and the protagonist risk the dangers of this passageway and make it into the innermost parts of the keep undiscovered. Now, just outside the chambers of the ruler Bro, two overhear Elias's plans. One of the mother's disciples tells Bro that Elias will summon Andariel, one of the lesser evils, in order to increase their power. From their conversation, it sounds as though Elias is not here. So Lorath and the protagonist head to Elias's chambers. There, they find his plans, plainly written in his journal. Lorath reads, "When the prime evils come, they will find no easy prey. We will be ready. And Dariel's power will be ours to wield against the other lords of hell. If more must die to see it come to pass, so be it." This journal is very telling to Lorath. He motions to leave the room and to escape the city to discuss what they have learned further. It appears that Elias, working for Lilith, has plans to gain power over Andariel and other lesser demons. He needs blood for these rituals and is willing to massacre more cities in pursuit of this. All of this in mind is protection against the greater evils when they do eventually come to Sanctuary. He has even aligned himself with cults serving the greater evils in a deceptive attempt to gain more power in his fight against them later. Lorath understands that in order to summon Andariel, Elias needs the Temple of Hatred, a place imbued with demonic power. However, it can only be accessed by someone who is blessed by the three greater evils. Even though Elias fights against the greater demons, he does not consider himself above taking their blessing. And neither does our protagonist. In order to access the temple, that is what must be done. Our protagonist travels to the three shrines of the greater evils and meets a bloodied wolf at the shrine of Mephisto. It is now clear that the wolf has been the essence of Mephisto this whole time. He explains that this is nothing to fear. Mephisto knows of Lilith's plot to destroy him, and he would like to bless the protagonist, to be an ally for the time being in order to stop that from happening. After all, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. With the required blessings, Lorath and our protagonist head to the Temple of Hatred just in time to stop Elias from sacrificing an unarmed girl. Lorath stabs Elias in the neck and he disappears, fleeing back to his refuge, no doubt. While escorting this nearly sacrificed survivor out of the temple, Brol, the tyrant king, attempts to stop Lorath and the protagonist. He is slain in short order, and the three escape to find safety in a forbidden chapel. Now at safety, the girl awakes. We learn that her name is Thaisa, and with the ritual started, but not quite finished, she finds that she has a connection with Andariel. This is similar to the one that our protagonist shares with Lilith. Thaisa uses this connection to discover the location of Elias. It appears that he has fled to his refuge in Kyrgyzstan. Lorath and the protagonist begin their journey, wanting to stop Elias, but unwilling to bring Thaisa with them, in fear of losing and giving Elias exactly what he needs. As their journey persists, they meet an old friend of Lorath's, who greets Lorath as Deckard Cain. This is the name of an individual who Lorath had long claimed was dead. It is an interesting bit of information for the protagonist to realize that Lorath is not always as forthcoming as he may seem. Now is not the time to be divided, however, so the two continue on and reach Elias's palace in Kyrgyzstan. There, they stealthily infiltrate the palace by pretending to be new disciples of Elias. The palace is littered with dark disciples, armed with forbidden knowledge and practicing summoning, seemingly preparing for war with the primevals. Finally breaching Elias's chambers, the three are face to face, and Elias stands no chance. He is defeated by his former master and our protagonist. Searching around now for more information on his plans, the Wanderer comes across the mark of Lily. Curious of the vision to come, the protagonist reaches out their hand to touch it. A grotesque and bloody vision ensues. Lilith shows her true colors as she feeds a monk to her dogs and discusses her plans with Elias. Our assumptions are confirmed. They both believe that they can save Sanctuary from the greater evils by building a big enough army, and they are willing to sacrifice as many people as necessary in order to do so. As the vision concludes, the protagonist looks up to see a revived Elias. Lorath is also confused by this and asks Elias how this is possible. The two are not graced with an accurate answer, but instead, after defeating him again, decide to steal the sightless eye from him. This is an item that allows you to see the location of anyone you choose, even lesser and greater evils. This item will not only slow the work of Elias against them, it will prove invaluable to their journey. Before discovering his gift of seemingly immortality, the two escape from the palace as Lorath begins his narration.
The prime evils were reforming. Hell was coming. But Elias was not the answer to anyone's prayers. If you want to take the measure of someone, you judge them by their deeds, not their words. Simple as that. Elias preached of saving the world while standing atop a mountain of corpses. Then there was the Wanderer. Everything Elias was not. Tainted by Lilith's blood, and yet able to resist her corruption. That was what I witnessed in the Wanderer's deeds. And that was when I started to think that perhaps together we could keep the evil at bay.